This is a Gorilla Podcast Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I like to know.
Are you ready for start time?
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Studderz Digest podcast. Hey. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The Studderz Digest podcast. I am your host, DJ Studderz, coming to you live from the Night Owl Studios on the Gorilla Podcast Network. This is officially episode number 25. And when I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's interviews like these that I look forward to. You know, we've already had a handful of CT veterans, and I'm very glad to have this man on this show because he's definitely one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you DJ El Niño.
¡Hey! El público en el estudio.
Yeah, ellos están ahí.
Yes.
So, like I said, man, DJ El Niño, glad to have you. TSD is very glad to have you.
Thank
TSD
you.
Podcast, we
Gracias.
welcome you. So we have a lot to talk about, man. There's a lot to cover with you, man.
Okay.
I already feel this is gonna be part one.
Part 1 of 18.
Part one. Yeah, man. Part one. Definitely, man, because we have a lot to cover. You've been in the game for a very, very long time. Just off the top, how long have you been in the nightlife, DJing?
Nightlife since 96, late 96.
So you started DJing late 96?
96,
Okay,
yes.
all right. So we'll get back to that in a few minutes. So DJ El Niño, how does this name?
Oh, man, I knew this was coming.
What's the origins of the name?
Okay, I'll tell you. I've said the story to a couple people over the years. They asked me. I always try to avoid it because immediately they thinking, oh, El Niño, the tropical storm.
Yeah.
You know, and then they, of course, some of them who try to be really funny, they try to refer to Chris Farley's skit. But no, my name comes because when I started DJing. No, I go a step back. When I went to school in Waterbury, I associated myself with a lot of kids that were in the bilingual class.
Okay.
Who speak English, right? And back then, not saying when, but back then, it was very popular to wear Durangos, wear slacks, to dress up pretty boy.
Yes.
I'm sure you can relate, understand
No,
that term.
of course.
So when the Dominican pretty boy was popping, that was me. I was one of those guys. And the people would call me pretty boy. I was called pretty boy all the time. And then the kids in the bilingual class who couldn't say pretty boy, me llamaban el niño lindo.
Oh, okay.
El niño
Oh,
lindo.
wow.
And that was like them, like sort of making fun of me, but not really.
Exactly. No,
that was
no.
their thing, like el niño
They were just
lindo,
poking at you.
Exactly. El niño lindo. Okay, fine. So I became a DJ.
Do you become a DJ? I mean, 95ish, and then you started working in the nightlife 96, or how long before? How long from when you became, like you said you wanted to DJ until you went to the nightlife?
2 years, from 95 to 97. I never count those 2 years, though. I usually tell people 97. I don't even tell them 96. I go straight to 97.
Okay, so you say 97?
Yeah, I tell people 97 when they ask me. But yeah, it was before that. I used to do parties in the garages and people from Waterbury, Connecticut would know. I went by different names. There was a girl that I was friends with. Her name is Nancy. She told me I should use DJ Platano as my name, and I thought that was really funny. And I knew there were other DJ Platano, so I didn't want to have that name.
Thank God you didn't go with that route.
Yeah, man,
I'm sorry, bro.
I would have been killing myself now. So what happened was I DJ'd an event in a place called I don't remember the name of the place, but it was located inside where it was a pawn shop. It was called Maslar's.
This is Waterbury.
This is Waterbury, yes. It used to be the Woolworth building. And
wow, Woolworth. Whoa.
Yeah. Please, let's not get into years, okay? So
I remember you, Woolworth.
So they booked me for this event, and I decided to adopt the name DJ El Niño Lindo. I actually have already used it a couple of times prior to that. So when I went to DJ in this place, they have those signs that they're still very popular. You know, they put outside businesses.
Yes.
And they have like a big arrow, and, you know, they switch up the letters with signs. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. So they were announcing the artist that was performing there, and I was there. And when they were putting the letters, I guess they didn't have enough letters to put Lindo.
Lindo.
So they just put DJ El Niño. And basically, I kind of liked the way it sounded, and I took it.
All right.
That was basically it. They dropped the Lindo because they didn't have enough letters, and that was it. And this was few years, I want to say 5 or more. No, this is way before, like, the whole El Niño, you know, phenomenon became to be something, you know. So this is way before that.
If you want me to be honest, in my mind, I was like, I wonder how he got that name. And to me, I figured, well, not figured, but I thought, I was like, maybe he was like the young guy coming around a bunch of older DJs, and they called him El Niño. So I was like, maybe that's it. But that was just... No.
no. I mean, it would have been a good one. I would have hung out with older people. So it would have been... that's a good guess. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. Guess. So we're going to go back.
What we going to do right here is go back. Way back into time.
You started 95-ish, 96-ish. Mm-hmm. What was your original influence to get started DJing? What originally attracted you to DJing?
What originally attracted me to music and DJing was a song. And I've said this before in other circumstances. People have asked me, or when the song comes on, I tell people, hey, this is the reason why I became a DJ. It's actually the song Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force.
Give it up for Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation.
Yes, the mighty Zulu Nation.
Yes.
Classic record. I heard that song and I'm like, I have to do something with music. I mean, I was, I don't know, 5, 6, maybe younger than that when I've heard this, and I'm like, yo, this is me. Yeah. This is my calling in life, basically.
Nice.
And just that song, and you know, whenever that question comes up, I just tell people this. You know, this song is the reason why I'm a DJ and why I am the way I am with music. So yes, Planet Rock.
Planet Rock. Hey man, it is funny because I have heard stories similar to that where like DJs say they gotten inspired to be a DJ from a song. It's also interesting to hear that you get inspired by a song to do something. Like the song has so much going on that you're like, I want to make people feel the way I'm feeling
with this song.
With a song.
Exactly. I mean, this is way, you know, I was really, really young. I didn't, you know, once I got older and then I wanted to take up DJing, and once that came about, I started listening to mixtapes. I was very heavy into mixtape culture and listened to all kinds of DJs, and then I started thinking like, okay, well, I'm going to get my first job in McDonald's, and I used to get a pamphlet with selling studio equipment. I can't remember the name of the company. It was a popular company. So I used to sit there and look at all these things and just like be, all right, this is cost, you know, $200, $300, and then I'm doing my math. Okay, so if I'm making $5 an hour or $4.25 or whatever it was in McDonald's, and I work this amount of hours, I'm gonna have this much money to get, and that's how it came about. It wasn't how I ended up getting equipment, but those were my plans, those were my dreams, and that's how I kind of wanted to.
Nice. Go. And you're coming up in a time where, not to say that DJs played a background, but to be inspired at a DJ around this time wasn't like looked the way it is now. You understand what I'm saying? Like everybody nowadays wants to be a DJ. Like I feel DJs that got inspired back in the day, like I mean, we had to do a lot of homework, and like you just said, you had to. I remember getting the magazines and looking through the magazines also, and you know, we just come from a different time.
Yeah.
Than what we live in now, like in the DJ culture.
We live in an era in the last, let's say, 10 years maybe, at least, we live in an era of the superstar DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of superstar DJs, whether, whatever music they play, but we live in that era where DJs are seen as artists. Completely. I mean, we've always have been, but
exactly
to the masses, we're artists, the Pauly D's and the whoever's, they're superstar DJs.
Yeah.
So we live in that era. And that's where we at now,
Yeah, man. So I want to. So what are your early memories? What are your early memories of your first few parties? Is there anything that stands out to you? Like, was there a moment that you're like, nah, yeah, I definitely want to do this, like for real?
I'm known, or I was known back then, in Waterbury for doing house parties.
Okay.
I did a lot of house parties, and that's where I met a lot of people. I used to. I already started DJing, and I was doing house parties, and I was DJing, and a friend of mine had a garage. Back then, I had no equipment, by the way. The way I would do it was, like, I would have a CD player and a couple CDs and a cassette. Even cassettes I would use to play music.
So you're one of these cassette guys. You came up in that?
Yes.
Nice.
I use cassettes. I use, like a boombox. Would have an aux out and connect it to something. And I remember when I started doing those private parties, just switching it up real quick, those private parties, I used to borrow equipment from another guy that I knew had it, and I was able to kind of do it that way. But yes, it was house parties. It was parties in garages, house parties.
Classic.
And that's how I came up.
Classic.
That's how I came up.
And what was your first piece of equipment once you bought equipment? What was the first thing you ended up buying?
The first thing I bought was a Denon 2500F. Classic. You have a soundbite? Yes, thank you. Yes.
Wow. Hold on. Let me drop a little flex bomb for that right there. That is classic right there, man.
Yes, a Denon 2500F. I actually already had a little experience with the Denons. I've worked with a 2000, I think was a model prior to that. And I worked in a club that I work in. They had it, and I was kind of, messing with it. And I ended up getting the 2500 when I had a little money saved, and I asked my parents to kind of help me out, and this is my dream. I want to do this, and they loaned me some money, and I was able to.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to moms and pops, man. Shout out to moms and pops for supporting the dream. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
definitely.
Initially, they didn't. Though.
No, bro. Who you telling, bro? My mom is still, when you get in a real job. No, I'm playing. Yes. I'm joking. No. Actually,
my mom said that to me for many years.
Yeah.
They weren't initially. They weren't supportive.
Yeah.
My mom didn't think that was something for me to do. She said,
and it was very foreign. It's very foreign. You're gonna.
To them, it was. Yeah.
No, exactly. No, I come from the same experience. It's very foreign to them.
I had an uncle though who was into music, and I think he's the one I mostly resemble because he was very big, but. And when I mean into music, he had like a serious vinyl collection. He had reel-to-reels. Reel-to-reels.
Hold up, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
My Uncle Pablo. I think
Uncle Pablo.
I think he lives in
Shout out to Uncle Pablo.
Yeah, Uncle Pablo, yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, so speaking about equipment, you don't come from a turntable background?
Well, the first thing prior to me having that, I did have turntables.
Okay. So
I had 1200s. Yes, I did.
Wow, look at you! Give it up to Niño for having turbo hundreds. That's what's up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess I kind of skipped a little bit. Yes, I had turntables, and I used to. You gotta remember, I became a DJ because of the music, and I wasn't a Latin DJ when I came up. I was heavy into. I grew up in the Bronx. And I was heavy into hip hop, early days of hip hop, and I was heavy into house music. So that's the kind of music I wanted to do. So when I got my turntables, the first couple of records that I bought, I can't remember my first record.
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah, I would have to really think really hard, but I started buying house records.
Yes.
That's what I bought. I went to the record shop in downtown Waterbury, and I bought records, and they were all house. I used to go to I want to say it's called Downstairs Records. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. It was in New Haven by where Yale, the Yale shops are. There was one there, and no, I think it was Cutting. It was something else. I can't remember. Anyway, that's where I used to go there, and I used to buy records, and it was mostly house and some hip hop stuff, and that's how I got into it. And then when I kind of realized I wanted to do Latin music, then I kind of like had to shy away from that because Latin music wasn't coming on vinyl anymore. No. You can still find some things, but not most of it. You weren't able to. So then that's when I kind of put the turntables aside, and I ended up selling them. I remember I sold them, I think, for $450 actually.
Wow, both of them.
And
they were in good condition.
They were in great condition.
That was a deal back in the day.
That was. I was a good deal. Guy who wanted to be a DJ, and he kind of wanted,
And what was your first mixer when you had those turntables? Do you remember your mixer?
I think my first mixer was a Gemini.
Oof.
Gemini with the 3-second sampler.
Wow.
That was groundbreaking.
That was groundbreaking. That was groundbreaking, especially at that time, man. I think a good handful of DJs, especially you come up with that time, Gemini was like everybody's first mixer.
Yeah.
Remember the packages, like in the Gemini packages in the magazines?
Yes. They used to have everything. Yeah. Oh my God. You remember that?
Yeah, of course, man.
You've been around for a little while.
Bro.
$500, you get this mixer and these direct drive turntable. Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, man. All right, so you start shying away from the hip hop in the house. Yeah. Well, at least for you to DJ.
Exactly. Yes. I got into the Denon, and I know I've kind of been skipping around because you asked me about influences earlier, and I kind of was gonna get into. I told you what my first song that got me into music, but I thinking that you had asked me too about DJs and influence, and I don't think we never got that, but we can go back to that later. I just don't,
Well,
I have so much to say, and we talked about this before. Like I don't want to kind of jump, and I feel like I've already jumping from place to place.
So let's get to it. What were your DJ influences once you started DJing? What was the DJs you were really like paying attention to?
When I started doing Latin, I guess, I started doing Latin, you had guys like Noricoto, Johnny Famolari, Baron Lopez, yes, Baron Lopez.
These are all legendary people, guys.
Yes.
Googles.
Rated R.
Oh, wow, I've heard that name. Do your Googles, people.
Yes, Rated R and the Latin game, these guys were...
Those are the guys running it.
Those are the guys running it. I mean, Rated R doing his mixtapes, his mix CDs, his mixtapes actually, because they were really CDs. They were really tapes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Rated R, and then Anordi and Johnny, who started the original Mega Mezcla in La Mega from New York. Yeah, I think they coined the term too, by the way.
Yeah. And where were you? Where were the shops in Waterbury supplying all this music for you? Where were you getting your music from?
I still had a foot in New York. I used to go to New York every so often, and in Waterbury, there's a couple guys. One in particular who used to sell mixtapes. So I used to buy mixtapes from him, and mostly the English stuff was from him, and the Latin stuff was kind of hard to come by. But there was a couple places. I know there's a record store in Waterbury called Alegria Records, and I used to buy my CDs from there. And I do remember what my first CD was to DJ. Yes, it was a group called Agua, Buena. It's called Mambo de Agua, I think is the name of the album. I can't really think. I can think of the cover, but I can't really think. The guy who the lead singer of the group, just to kind of give a little history on who this group was Dionis, and Dionis was the guy who made La Banda Flaca, who had that song Ponte Cuatro. So it's the same guy. Yes, that was the first CD, right? People used to ask me to make like mixtapes for them back then, and I ended up buying that because I was looking actually for another song. So I kind of bought that CD by mistake. It wasn't the one I wanted. But that was my first CD. That was the first CD I ever bought that had anything to do with my DJing career. It was
That's what's up. Buena. That's what's up. And so I don't really want to get, you're talking very heavy about CDs and CD. Some people have an amazing vinyl collection if you're around to be in the vinyl era and you're digging, but CD DJs get very underlooked, especially right now. We live in a culture where everybody's obsessed. Everybody got re-obsessed with turntables and having vinyl. You're not a real DJ if you don't DJ vinyl. But I've said it before, and I said it last episode. Especially when it comes to Latin DJs, CDs. You still had to go out there and buy these CDs, and there's some people with amazing CD collections, and you're one of them. You're one of the, and you're one of them. And so the CD game comes into play, and you're playing on the Denons. How often are you buying CDs once you start rocking?
Weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah, I used to buy CDs heavy. I later on in my career, well, early in my career still, I got into record pools and I started, meeting artists and stuff. So I was able to get promos and not spend as much music, but I was still buying albums. And then, I didn't get everything through record pools. There's some stuff that I still had to buy. So I spent a lot of money. Places I still buy to this day. By the way.
I know.
But we could get into that later.
We're gonna get into that. But no, man, because there were like Sam Goody would have like the single section.
Can I get a bomb for Sam Goody though? I used to buy cassettes for Sam Goody,
bro.
Yes.
Sam Goody, bro. Every Tuesday I was in there heavy. But yeah, they had a single section, and you were able to find some very dope singles with instrumentals and acapellas. And like I said, CDs get very underlooked because we live in a world where everybody wants to be a vinyl guy and everybody wants to be on turntables. Serato came out and just made all these DJs all fucking obsessed with, you know what I'm saying? And people forget about the art form it was to DJ with CDs.
Yeah. And you're in the Latin game. It's important,
especially the Latin. And I always give credit to those guys, like people like like yourself and Billy that came from that CD. Like having a crazy CD booklet was very important. And I think I didn't know you back in those days, but like I remember Billy, like he had like it was like it looked like he was carrying kilos. He had duffel bags of just. And that's the way you had to walk around with your CD booklet.
Towards the end of my career, I ended up having I want to say it's Case Logic, the name of the brand, right? Case Logic, I had the 264 CDs, and I had one for each genre. So whenever I used to travel, like, New Orleans or wherever I used to go, I used to bring like all these booklets with me.
Okay, hold on. And he was over here bragging over here. He was like, yo, when I used to just travel. We're going to get into that. He's over here.
I'm just saying, man. He has those CD books.
I'm playing now, yeah. We're going to get into that. So, all right. So you start. So what was the first spot? What was the name of that first spot again that you started DJing at?
No, we didn't actually get into it. The very first location, the nightclub that I did was a place called Topaz, which then became to be known as Crystal City Cafe.
This is all Waterbury.
This is Waterbury. Yeah.
So Waterbury people.
This is 97.
So Waterbury people, if you listen and you're getting some nice Waterbury history.
And if you from Waterbury you're listening, it's actually where Temptations or Illusions is at now.
Okay, there you go.
That location, yeah, I got history in that location.
Oh wow.
Yes.
So that block's been hot for a minute.
Yes. Yeah, it was then. Yes.
That's what's up. So that was your first spot. And did you become a resident there? What was the deal over there?
I just wanted to be a DJ, and the guy who owned it, his nickname was Johnny Ventura. He gave me the chance. He had a DJ there before me. It was called Super Tony. I remember his name. And he gave me a chance, and basically he would supply the music. He bought music all the time. I still have my own stuff, but he bought music all the time, and so I basically just went to quote unquote DJ, play music, and that's where I learned how to play with a Denon 2000. This is before I bought my 25, but and that's where I learned. I used to try to mix and do this and do that, and this is unheard of. Mixing Latin music in 97 was rare,
very rare.
96 was like what?
Because especially back, like I remember like going to parties like back in the day, and the DJ was like, you would start the song, and then like I'm saying, you would start the salsa song, and then as soon as then you play another one. Exactly. It was just like so. Then, but like I said, since we come up in the
digital era.
No. But what I'm saying is, we come up with the hip hop influence, so we want to mix no matter what it is.
Yes.
So DJs around that time, whether you're Latin or whatever it is, we wanted to mix that music, and at that time it was very unheard of. Now, what was the DJ scene like in Waterbury around this time? Was it heavy? Was there only a few of you guys, or
there was only a few? I can't really think of anybody right at this point who was a Latin DJ in Waterbury. Mm-hmm. When I was coming up, I mean, if they're probably older than me, so I wasn't really connected to them. But I can't think of anybody.
And did you have anybody that you were like? Was there anybody that kind of like mentored you, or was there anybody that like cuffed you up, like OG?
Yes, the guy who I bought my turntables from. His name is DJ Lamont Young.
Shout out to Lamont Young.
Yes, he lives in California now. I haven't heard from him in, 20 years or whatever. But I bought my turntables from him. I would go over his house, and he would show me how to mix, and he would play house records, and he would make mixtapes for me, which I still have.
Really?
Yes. He made a few mixtapes.
Would he make them for you to listen to and like to study them, or would or just for your enjoyment?
Because I would tell him, like I said, being from the Bronx and house music was a big deal, and I would tell him about songs that remember about songs like, yeah, this song I used to go like this, and he was like, yeah, it was a this, and he would play them, and he was like mix. I would give him titles or whatever. He would just mix them as we went. And
dope. Very dope.
Yeah, I still got those. Yes, I actually transferred some of them into digital in the last 3 years or whatever. But I still have those tapes. And yes, Lamont Young, he sold me the equipment, my first turntables, and that Gemini 3-second sampler.
Let me give it up for the 3-second sampler.
Yes.
That was very key.
Yes.
Very key.
I need you to understand.
Yo, man, these kids are spoiled out here these days, man.
Bro,
these kids are spoiled out here these days, man.
3-second sampler. And then you were able to loop it too.
Yeah, you were able to loop it.
So if you got the precise 3 seconds, you were able to loop it and make something out of it. I once looped it, and I got a merengue loop going on, and it was flawless. And I remember, don't laugh at this, but I remember I didn't shut off the mixer because I didn't want the loop to go away. So I kept it there for a little bit, and then I think I ended up doing a mixtape after that, and I used it. And the thing is that if you hit the button to stop, and then you hit it to start, the way I caught the loop wasn't right on the one.
Yeah,
it was somewhere in between. So like if I would hit it, like it wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be easy to mix. So it had to be already playing. Yeah, and I ended up doing a mixtape or whatever it was that I was working on, and that's the way I did it. I had to leave like the mixer on for like till the next day. I'm like, all right, so tomorrow I'm gonna play with this, but I can't shut it off because you couldn't save it.
Yeah, no,
that's
I know.
That's the point I'm trying to make. You couldn't save it, so I had to
save it.
Leave it on so I can do it. I'm sorry, I got way of something.
No, don't worry, man. Yo, man, listen here, Niño. Over here on the Spinners Digest podcast, this is a DJ podcast, okay? And we're talking some real DJ shit. And you were there for the people that don't know about that, you're filling them in. And for the heads that listening that do, they're shaking their head with us right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I just, like I said, we
man.
Before the podcast, we had talked about doing it, and I've been wanting to do it since way back when, and it's like, I just don't know. I'm gonna just have so much to say. And today I feel like I'm already all over the place, and we just started.
man. We're just scratching the surface. Like I said, this would be like a part 3. There'd be like 3 parts till the.
So not 18.
Not 18.
Okay.
Now, all right. So you're in.
I'm in Topaz. I'm in Crystal City Cafe, and that was my first experience doing the clubs. And like I said, this was '97. This is after I bought my. I was playing there with the 2000, then on 2000, and eventually I was able to save some money and got help with my parents and bought the 2500. And from then on, I started practicing and learning how to mix, and with that 3-second sampler looping and adding samples, and I started doing mixtapes. I think my first mixtape was in '97.
Wow, your mixtape going to go back to then?
Yes, I did a reggaeton mixtape, which I unfortunately lost the master. I was never able to transfer because I ended up doing a volume 2, which I did, and it's still up. I mean, you can Google it. It's from 1998. But my first mixtape that I did, I think it was a reggaeton one, and it was in '97. And this is along with the house ones. And this
is very, very early in it wasn't even called reggaeton.
Well, I'm gonna be technical with you right now.
No, yeah.
Back then, to us,
this is your field right now.
Yeah,
this is your field right now. Let's go. Let the people know.
No, because what I'm gonna say is it's actually gonna contradict a lot of stuff that we know about the genre. So back then,
hold on. On that note, a lot of these documentaries have gotten it wrong.
Yes,
they've gotten it wrong.
Yes.
They don't mention people forget to mention the Panama thing, and like,
yeah, we can get into that too, man, because that's me.
Exactly.
You talking about me.
Drop the jewels on these kids, yes. Niño. Come on, man.
All right. So back then I think we were just calling it reggae en español, or underground in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, underground raga.
Yeah, it was referred to as underground. So, I started doing. I did that, and it was like I said, it was known as that, and it wasn't reggaeton then. I'm gonna tell you the real story.
Go ahead.
We'll go back. We'll keep talking about the mixtape. So, people who know the history of reggaeton always say go by what has been said, and what's been told. The history that's been told is that DJ Nelson did an album called Reggaeton. And it was because it was a marathon. This is how the name came to be. Es un maratón de reggae. Okay. So they put reggae and ton from marathon and made the word reggaeton. That was an album that he dropped, which I haven't seen in forever. So they're saying the name of the genre came from that, but that came out around 95. That album came out, but there was albums prior, which I didn't know. There was albums prior to that already mentioning the word reggaeton, and these are albums that I have, but I never put one on one together.
Exactly.
And this was real recent. I found this out actually, and to be honest with you, I want to say it's maybe a month, because I'm in this, the WhatsApp group chats.
Yeah.
I'm in a group chat with a whole bunch of guys who are pioneers of the reggae en español and reggaeton scene, and we got guys from Panama, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic in this chat, and we were talking about it the other day, and one of the guy from Puerto Rico who's very knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable, and he said, well, and I would tell him, yeah, he's like, we actually talking about DJ Nelson, because DJ Nelson again was the ones that known for coining the term.
And he's a pioneer in his own right.
Exactly. Yeah. There's many things, but this guy was telling me that he thinks Nelson was overrated. He's like, I don't like the fact that Nelson is lying. Yeah,
bochinche.
Yeah,
bochinche.
He's like, I think he's overrated. I think he's he brags a little too much, because he wants to take the credit for naming the genre, and it wasn't him. Because then I was telling him, what about the album Guataúba? I can't remember the name of the album, but one of the Guataúba albums where there was a song with Rey Pirín and Don Chesina is called Reggaetonic.
Yeah.
And I used to Reggaetonic. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, wasn't that prior, whatever? I remember that being prior to we calling it reggaeton.
That's the reggaetonic.
Yeah. Okay, and that was prior to us calling that reggaeton.
Yeah.
Again, this is, and I just want to put this clear. This is my experience with reggaeton on coming from the United States.
Exactly.
I'm not
exactly.
I wasn't in Puerto Rico when this was happening. So my experience, and this is why I told my little friends in the group chat, I tell them, whatever I talk to you about music is coming from a New York experience.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it might be different from what anybody else will say. Anyway, so going back, so Nelson takes the credit for doing that, but it's not. It was actually already, we don't know exactly who, but it was albums already coming out, particularly one we were talking about, Playero, called MC Nonstop Reggae, and this came out in 94, and they're already mentioned. Like the guy sent me, I have the album, but he sent me a snippet of it, and I'm like, yeah, I know that song, and then I actually paid attention to the lyrics, and I heard them say reggaeton, and I'm like, wow, I've had this in my library all these years.
But even at that time,
I didn't even know.
But what's crazy is that, with you saying all that, even at that time, they were still calling it underground, because it was so.
Yes.
Because it was, you really had to be in the scene and know, and I'm glad you mentioned the way we saw it coming from the United States.
Yes.
My recollection of when a friend of mine gave me the cassette of a Playero 40. And,
ow.
Huh?
I said, ow.
Oh, yeah, classic.
Playero
40. Playero 40. But so then I went to Sam Goody to see what they had, and I was very fortunate to find Playero 37. Oof. So in my mind,
can you drop a bomb for that though?
Of course, I got you right now. Playero 37, which is classic.
Yes.
And so in my mind, for a very long time, I thought like Playero 37 was like the fucking start of everything in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But then I remember I bumped a few years ago. I bumped into somebody who's old school guy, and he was like, you think he just called it Playero 37 to call it? He was like, yo, there was 36 before that.
Yes.
and that's what's it's insane.
What Playero? I want to say prior to 30 to 39, from 39 down, those were actually all actual mixtapes. That's what it was.
Exactly.
These were mixtapes of reggae, of dancehall. Because this is gonna get interesting. It was all because obviously prior to this, and I think we mentioned it, but we didn't get into it. It was reggae en español, Panama, who started this whole thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nando Boom. Dropping a bomb for Nando. Yes. All right. So. Again, I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but just to give you, I guess, where reggaeton came from, the whole genre itself. So, there was the Panamanians. Panamanians are heavily influenced by the Jamaicans, because when they built the Panama Canal, they brought a lot of people over from Jamaica to work in Panama, who ended up staying, and that's how that whole reggae influence came from in Panama. So, Back then in 89, 90, 91, reggae en español was heavy. Dancehall was coming up, was getting a lot of love. So Nando Boom did a Spanish version. He was known for, he already had dropped a couple songs, and he was doing Jamaican songs in Spanish.
Yep.
So he did a Spanish version to the track, to Shabba Rank's track called Dembow, who's on the Pokemon John rhythm. But yeah. I'll get to that in a second. All right, so he dropped that song, Dembow, on a rhythm. You know,
yeah.
We're talking to DJs, so I don't think I should explain what a rhythm is, right?
They know. Okay, all right. And if you don't know,
then you have to do your homework.
If you don't know, then stop listening right now.
Yeah, stop listening right now. All right, so he did a Spanish version of Dembow on the pounder rhythm on a song. There was a song, and it wasn't officially a rhythm because there was no other tracks on it.
Yeah.
But it was an instrumental called Pounder. The song was Pounder by Bobo General and Sleepy Wonder. And on the 12-inch of that, on the side B, there was the instrumental version, which is there was two versions instrumental. It was Dub Mix 1 and Dub Mix 2. So Dub Mix 2 became the basis of what reggaeton is. Yep. Dub Mix 2, Nando Boom took that instrumental, did the Dembow from Shabba Rank in Spanish over that. And basically that's how reggaeton was born. That's how that Spanish reggae whole reggaeton thing was born, right? So that's why you hear people, people who weren't there in the beginning, who kind of just know this from hearing it from other mouths. You know how stories go on and get changed.
Exactly.
Right. So they used to say that when they're talking about dembow and reggaeton, whatever, they were actually not talking about the actual dembow rhythm. They were talking about the pounder rhythm. But since Nando Boom did dembow in the pounder rhythm, so it was known as a dembow. You understand? So basically, that all came from the instrumental to pounder, which on a song called Dembow. So everybody referred to it as Dembow, and that's why it is what it is. So Nando Boom did his song, did the Spanish, did Dembow, and that's where reggaeton comes. So in the early tapes of Playero, 1 to 36, what he would do was do dance hall, and then when the whole Panamanian movement came on, then he would have Nando Boom. He would have all these, it was a mixtape, like any other mixtape.
Exactly,
it was just a mixtape. And then towards the later ones, I don't know which is the first. I really don't know, but I heard Playero 34. I've heard, and it features some songs by Nando Boom, and then by then he was already putting some of the guys from Puerto Rico on to do quote unquote freestyles over dancehall rhythms. Like 34 has Daddy Yankee, has a guy named Apache, has I think Miguel Play, Master Joe, and
on 34.
Yes,
I thought Daddy Yankee came out on 37 for the first time.
No, that's not true. That's definitely not true.
Oh wow,
that's definitely not true. That's definitely not true. He had a song with a guy called Apache, which I didn't know. I don't know nothing about him.
Wasn't he called Yankee Man?
I think. Well, again, all this reggaeton, all this reggae español comes from Jamaica. So all these guys wanted to be Jamaican. Yeah. I got heavy into dancehall in 92.
Yeah, you did skip that.
Yeah, we didn't get into that. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm from the Bronx. So
no, don't worry about it.
So hip hop and house was my thing, and then in 92. I got into dancehall, and
but now, I
dancehall go hand in hand.
I definitely like you dropped some jewels about the early stages of reggaeton at least, and like you said, coming from us.
Yeah, man, that's legendary.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, all those were all just
were
all mixtapes, and all those they were just reggae rhythms that were looped either by him or other DJs, because obviously Playero's not the first DJ out of Puerto Rico. I've come to find out that you had guys like DJ Raymond he dropped vinyl records, and the vinyl that he dropped, he looped some of these reggae rhythms, and these loops and these vinyls are the basis for all those albums.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
All those live productions and all that, that's where that came from.
I really do.
This is prior to the roll-ins and the sampling machine, the beat, the
man,
machines.
Yeah, man, and I really hope that one day there's a documentary that gets it right. I really hope one day. And hey, man, you should
shout out to Raquel Rivera and Wayne Marshall. They did a book on the history of reggaeton, which I was part of back in.
Oh, what? Like you have like quoted lines in there?
Yes, I do.
Oh, wow, look at you, yo, Niño out here showing off, man.
I'm telling you.
No, I'm playing.
Look it up. It's called Reggaeton. It has a kid with a white tee in the front, and he has a plátano as a chain, a gold plátano as a chain, and the reason for that is because the early stages of reggaeton was heavily influenced by Dominicans.
Yeah.
As unless you're from that era that we're speaking about, if you came in the, let's call it for lack of better term, let's call it the second wave of reggaeton, when the Dale Don Dales and the Looney Tunes and the Nicky Jams and all these people. Some of these people are of Dominican descent, and that's where that's the whole thing behind having that little kid with a platano, which I thought I didn't get it then, and then I asked them. They said that's what they did. But yes, Raquel Z Rivera, which has written a few books about the history of Latinos in hip hop culture. I think she had a book called Boricua's Bond, which I think they even used the name for a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember exactly, but she wrote like some very influential Latino hip hop books.
Shout out to her, yeah.
And she did the one about reggaeton, and Wayne Marshall, which is a music teacher. He's out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, and they featured me. They found me through mixtapes when I used to do mixtapes, and they contacted me, and I put my 2 cents in to make this book, and it became pretty popular. Actually, they sold a lot of copies, and they even did seminars. They went touring to colleges to talk about this book, and they invited me. And this is okay. You're gonna say this is me showing off, but
no.
They did one in Princeton.
Speak of history.
They did one in Princeton, which I went, and I just shout out to them because they pay me a nice amount. Just for me, I didn't thank you Princeton, but
that's what's up.
They
man.
actually wrote me a nice check for me to go talk about reggaeton.
This is why I'm very excited to have you here, because. And I said this before with DJs.
And again, we're off subject because we were talking.
No, don't worry, man. I'm on track. Trust me, my mind is working right now. But this is one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because people like you, like I said, CT veterans, that just when you see Niño drinking in the club and dancing and all this shit, just know this guy has he's
history.
He has history out here, man. And so I'm glad. Okay, so the first mixtape you dropped comes out is a reggaeton.
It's a reggaeton, yes.
It's a reggaeton. How does it do?
I wasn't doing mass production back then. I bought a double deck because I didn't have enough money to buy one of those Tascam machines that would do like 6 copies in one. Mm-hmm. So I had a double deck, and I just would just spend hours and hours recording at 8X or whatever it was, those cassettes, to sell. And I probably sold maybe 50 copies, but to me I was like, wow,
of course, bro,
I'm popping. Yeah. To me that was it. But then I did a Latin house one after that. I got heavy into Latin house in the 93, 94 when Latin house came in the scene. Shout out to Noricoto.
Once again,
yes,
shout out to Noricoto, man. Legend. Yeah, I would love DJ, yo legend. If you could make that happen, if you could
I could make that happen for you. I actually asked him. It's crazy, you go from having these people you look up to, and like, yo, one day I want to be like a Noricoto. I want to have that fame, and to being his friend, like, we cool. Like, I got his number. I can text him right now. He's gonna hit me back. He's not gonna be on no, you know what I mean? He'll call me like, Niño, what's up? What do you need? The same thing with Baron Lopez and these guys that I grew up. It's like we're boys. I can hit up Baron Lopez and tell him, yo, I know it's not gonna work, but can I get that Maria Vicosilla capella? You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up. But yeah, man, that's a crazy feeling, man. Because when you get inspired by somebody and you look to somebody, and then when you're able to become that person's peer, it's just like, yo, how does this happen?
To me, that's huge. To me, it was huge.
And so, all right. Important. So when
we're talking about the playeros, right? Before that?
No. We're back. Okay. So we're back on you now. Okay. Let's get back on you. Okay. So when do you start building, like, when do you start building a little buzz for yourself with like, when does the Waterbury, like, are you just like every weekend now?
I was doing like the garage parties, and I started doing the clubs, and I started getting a couple of other gigs. I knew this guy named Richard, who was a car salesman, right? And Richard, one day he was bored, and he took me to meet this guy, a guy who worked. I think he was either the manager or partner in the dealership. It was Volkswagen dealership, if I remember correctly, I think. And he introduced me to this guy. This guy's name is Artie Pabon, which you're going to get into who he is. He introduced me to Artie. Artie told me that he does a lot of concerts and stuff, and that he was looking for a DJ. I'm like, yeah, I'm a DJ, put me on. I had just gotten my 2500 Denon, and he put me to DJ. He did a concert. He brought, he had Luis Damon and La India perform, and he hired me to DJ. I think I got paid like $150. It was something very low, and to me that was kind of a big deal. So he hired me to DJ that, and that was the first time I ever DJ'd anything big. I invited all my friends, so you guys got to come to this. Some of them really didn't care too much about Luis Damon. This was Luis Damon's first Connecticut performance, and probably his 5th overall, when Luis Damon was doing salsa. Mm-hmm. He used to be a freestyle artist prior to that. And Yeah, he hired me, and that was kind of my first big thing that I did. And from then on, I kind of got a taste for it, and I kept working, doing mixtapes, and I just started doing different locations, and
So you do this big concert, and your name starts buzzing a little bit. What happens after that?
I still keep doing clubs. I was still in Topaz. I was still in Crystal City Cafe. I was doing my Crystal City Cafe then. I was still doing Crystal City Cafe, and just doing mixtapes and just learning how to mix Latin music and just doing parties, doing the basement, the private parties and stuff like that.
And for point of reference, we're talking early 2001, 2002-ish, or
no, bro, we're talking about 98, 99,
okay,
2000.
Okay, that's not too far. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So 2000-ish, early 2000-ish. Yeah. What was your first out-of-state gig? When do you start traveling?
I think it happened in 2001 or 2 or maybe 3.
And what was the gig?
As late as 3. I can't really remember right now, actually.
That's how drunk you were?
No, it wasn't even that. It's just so, like, I did stuff in New York, but I don't want to consider New York out of town.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying?
It's right there.
It is out of town, but it really is not.
Exactly. I know.
No, but
okay. And what's the first out of the U.S. gig that you landed?
The first out of U.S. gig that I landed, I don't know if I should really include like Dominican Republic because that's kind of like where I'm from. So I don't really want to say that. I have to be somewhere else.
Include if that's your first, I kind of want to get.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I did parties in the Dominican Republic. I even did radio appearances there.
There you go. Hold on. You know what I mean?
Yes, Dominican Republic.
Okay.
I did stuff there. I even did radio there as a guest DJ.
That's dope. That's real dope.
99 actually.
Wow,
that's 99. Okay,
that's 2 years after you start. That's not too bad, man. Okay. You're going on the right track, man. That's what's up. And so
I'm thinking that's 99, 2000. Yes.
Okay, that's
when I did that. Okay,
that's what's up. And
I'm sorry, it's coming back to me.
Yeah, there you go. And so was that your first time in obviously you went to DR prior to that. But was that your first time in DR as a DJ?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And was it like, I mean, were you hype about it? Was it like
I was very hype about it. I mean, it was kind of like it was a really big deal
to your motherland and being able to play music. Deal. What songs stand out to you around that time in Dominican Republic?
I went there.
What was a heat rocker?
I didn't go there as a Latin DJ. I went there to play house music.
Oh, you were the English DJ.
I was the English
Usted era
DJ.
El gringo, el americano, que va a tocar música americana.
And yes, I went there as a house DJ, and the songs that were rocking back then was stuff like Daft Punk, One More Time, French Affair,
Oof.
My Heart Goes Boom.
Oh, wow.
Black Legend, You See the Trouble With Me.
So these are all songs that stand out to you.
This 99, 2000, yeah.
And they were ringing in DR.
Yes.
Ringing.
The electronic music scene in the Dominican Republic is very big.
Really?
Yeah, it's very big.
There
I mean, they bring
people.
All these big
I told
guys
you,
up.
Man, we're dropping jewels on you today. I think it's all about El Alfa over here.
Nah, definitely not.
All right. So you're DJ now for a few years. Mm-hmm. You're able to travel outside the state. Actually, I would want to say pretty early in your DJ career, 2 years. That's pretty dope. You start traveling, in the U.S. Mm-hmm. How does LMP come into your life? What was the call? What was
we skipped a few years. I became part of LMP in 2006.
Okay. Okay. So let's lead up to that. What's going on in this? What's going on around like 2002, 2003 for you?
This is a Gorilla Podcast Network production.